I think just like anything else, everybody starts their journey when they start to realize that healing is you're being called to heal in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's a relationship or the way that you are making income. Maybe it is, traumas and things from the past. Maybe, I really can look back at my journey, even back, 13 and a half years ago when I started my own, when I started into multi-level marketing. And there was a sense of kind of healing that I was drawn to. I was drawn to the community because I'd just gotten out of the military several years prior, and I was looking for that kind of community. And when you're looking for community, you're looking for people that are like you, that have similar goals, that have similar interests, that are going to support you and love you and meet you where you're at. And so I think essentially what started all of this was my soul's desire to start healing.
Hi, everybody. So today I am very excited to have Erin Bies join us. And Erin is a military veteran with 2 kids and has been married to the love of her life for 16 years. Wow, I thought that was an accomplishment in its own. And after spending 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, she chose to put her healing first and was guided to human design. Through her personal healing, she created a business that points people back to the power of themselves using their energetic blueprint. And what I really wanted to add after listening to some of Erin's podcasts and some of the work that she's put out is that she is truly so powerful, so real and authentic. And I love that she also had set an intention for her podcast to inspire people to take action on their goals and dreams. So welcome, Erin. First of all, thank you so much for being here and devoting your time to talk to us. And would love to hear a bit more about yourself and your journey here.
Gosh, what an intro. Can I play this every morning when I have a hard time getting out of bed, like most other people?
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to hopefully offer your audience value. And I think just like anything else, everybody starts their journey when they start to realize that healing is you're being called to heal in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's a relationship or the way that you are making income. Maybe it is, traumas and things from the past. Maybe, I really can look back at my journey, even back, 13 and a half years ago when I started my own, when I started into multi-level marketing. And there was a sense of kind of healing that I was drawn to. I was drawn to the community because I'd just gotten out of the military several years prior, and I was looking for that kind of community. And when you're looking for community, you're looking for people that are like you, that have similar goals, that have similar interests, that are going to support you and love you and meet you where you're at. And so I think essentially what started all of this was my soul's desire to start healing, and so that was kind of how I found human design. That was how I decided to, around when COVID first started, was when I really paused and I really started to look at what I'm spending my time and my energy on, and it's not necessarily about what I was getting back, but how it was making me feel. Was it making me feel aligned? Was it making me feel like I was just giving and exhausting myself?
Yeah, totally.
Did I feel like it was in alignment and I was serving my purpose, which I didn't know at the time what that was. It wasn't until I found human design that I really kind of now understand it. And so I want to say all of this started with me just wanting to heal after years of kind of neglecting myself.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because so many times something has to not work.
Yeah.
For us to kind of like be prompted to do something, to reflect on it and really kind of decide, okay, if I keep on the same path, or maybe something probably has to change if I want to feel different, right? Starting with feeling different. And I think so many people could relate to the fact that, you know, you're busy, right? You're doing something that maybe you've been doing more than 10 years, but then something, like you're saying, it sounds like it was draining you,
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
wasn't necessarily giving back or pouring into you what you were pouring into it. So tell us a little more about human design. I don't know
Yeah.
much about it. I've heard about it, but what is it?
No, so all of this started because I wanted to understand myself. And I
Okay.
always explain human design as an energetic blueprint. So it's based on the time you were born, the location you were born, um, obviously the date you were born, and it takes all of those pieces and it combines the I Ching, quantum physics, astrology, the tree of life, Kabbalah, and it kind of takes all of these pieces along with the planetary alignment, which is the astrology piece, and it gives you an energetic blueprint. So there's multiple types in human design, and it is really about how to make aligned decisions for you. And I think there are so many times where we have a big decision that needs to be made,
Mhm.
and we look outside of ourselves to have people help us make those decisions. But
Yeah.
human design puts you back into your sense of self and what feels aligned with this decision. And there's two really important pieces that I always talk about in human design, and it's your strategy and your authority. Your strategy is how you ask questions to determine, is this where I should be spreading my magic? Is this where I should be spending my time and my energy and using the finite resources that we have as human beings? And then your authority is how you get those answers, right? And so for me, just giving you guys an example, if you've never heard of human design, I am a generator. So I'm somebody that has a lot of energy,
Okay.
but I also require a lot of downtime because I can't maintain that high energy level all the time, and I have to regenerate. And it was in those pauses that I was getting hung up because I felt like I was behind because I wasn't performing all of the time. And
Oh
so
yeah.
what I've learned, yeah, it's the coolest thing, because what I've learned now is that in that pause is typically where I get creative ideas that
Mhm.
move me forward faster. So it's
Right.
less work because it's in alignment. And then my authority, so my strategy is to wait to respond. So I had to create those pauses in my life in
Mhm.
order to receive the messages for the creative ideas or whatever to help me overcome the obstacle. But then I also am a solar plexus authority, and the authority is how you answer those questions. Well, should I go to dinner with this friend, or should I stay home and go to bed early, or should I work on this
Yeah.
project? And then you have your authority that helps you to answer that. And mine is solar plexus. So it's all through my emotions. And
Mhm.
so we all, especially us women, hello, fellow
Yeah. The
ladies out there, we have these emotions that,
emotions, the scary
yeah, they're all over the place
emotions.
sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Mine, that is how I'm supposed to make decisions. However, not when I am really, really um, high emotion, really excited, really, I'm energetic and I want to commit to all of the things.
Mhm.
That's not when I should be making decisions.
Yeah.
Also, when I am kind of in a low emotional state, I'm tired, I'm sad, or whatever, that's not when I should be making decisions, whether I should be doing this or that. Because most of the time, when you're in that kind of state, you're not
Mhm.
going to make the right decisions. You're just going to say no to everything because you don't have the energy.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I have to look for, you picture high tide, low tide, and everything kind of in between. For
Mhm.
me, I need to make big decisions in my life when I am in that calm water. I'm
Mhm.
overlooking a lake. Just
Mhm.
everything is real still. I'm not high, emotions. I'm not low emotions. I'm just calm. And
Mhm.
that's when I know I'm in the right energetic state to make these big decisions. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of time. I can't tell myself, I'm going to give myself 90 days to figure this out. I just have to kind of be a student of the emotion in the situation. And so
Mhm.
that grace and that patience helps me to make those aligned decisions without judging myself for them. So that's an example of human design.
Yeah, so really what you're talking about is, and I'm a huge believer that knowing yourself is power, where this is where the power lies, right? For you to create, whatever it is that you want, including your career. And how can, so you mentioned so much. So it's see, and when you started with the energy centers, I'm like, it sounds a little bit like astrology, sounds a little bit like the Indian, chakra system. And
Yep.
then it also sounds a little bit like the strength finder.
Yep.
And Myers-Briggs, right? And kind of
Yep.
it's like, okay, who I believe it's become really popular, and kind of like I just recently have started hearing about it. Where did it come from? And is it more scientific or more like kind of based on feelings? And
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think, pulling from kind of all of these pieces, it's a nine center system instead of the
okay,
traditional 7 chakras.
okay.
And it's pulling from everything. So does it help with feelings and emotions? Yes. Does it help with making decisions? Yes. Does it help with finding your purpose? Yes. Now, it's not going to tell you specific things like, Erin, you should be a teacher, or you should, start your own business. I'm looking at my plant here, like a gardening or landscaping type business, but it is going to tell you things like you are somebody that is meant to, which this is my incarnation cross, the left angle cross of defiance, is actually, I'm meant to step out of line and show people that there's a different way to do things. So you can take that and you can do anything with it, whether you already have a really successful career and you feel like something is missing. By
Mhm,
looking at your human design chart and your incarnation cross,
mhm,
it's going to help you to fill in that gap. It's going to help you to find fulfillment for you. And
mhm,
I think that's probably one of my favorite things about human design is it's not me pointing people to me. It's me just kind of holding a mirror through my own journey and healing process and studying human design. And I'm
mhm,
holding a mirror up for other people so
mhm,
that they can see themselves clearly. And instead of judging themselves, they learn how to manage those emotions. They learn how to make aligned decisions. They
mhm,
learned that, oh, this is me kind of doing things for attention because my throat center is, I'm kind of in that not self theme, meaning out of alignment. And I
mhm,
know that I'm making some of these decisions because I'm out of alignment. So let me regroup. Let me ask myself some questions.
mhm,
So I know that's a lot. Human design is kind of like the layers of an onion.
mhm,
There are layers and layers and layers. And it's a beautiful thing, but it just takes time and patience to kind of learn ourselves
mhm.
and how we can operate in alignment.
Yeah, no, I mean it's almost like right, it's a tool, like kind of what you were talking about, like looking outside, right, for the answers. It's really redirecting us back to
Yes.
yourself and look in yourself and understand. And through that understanding, you can hopefully gain more compassion and more wisdom of how to work your beautiful, the power, and kind of like you said, the in a sense, in one sense, a limited resource, but then also this, why you came here, what is your journey, and what are your gifts, and what's the best way to express them in the best form. So let's
Yes.
go there. Let's say, kind of like what you were both of us were mentioning about, this feeling that something is missing, and you can relate
Mm.
it, right? You were I mean, it's also a company, right? Organization,
Yep.
13 and a half years. And so what led you to, how did you connect the dots?
Yeah,
That
great question. So,
right from something's missing to da-da.
oh, here it
Oh,
is. Here's the answer. Yeah. Well, so I found out about human design in 2018. And at that time, I was really, my ego was running the show a lot,
okay.
most of the time, we'll say.
Okay.
And I was very focused on making rank. I was very focused on making more income. I was very focused on personal success because at that time, success was defining who I was versus something that I did. Right.
Okay.
And I think that's a really important thing for people to understand, is that success is not meant to define who you are. It's like a verb. It's something that we do. It doesn't mean, if you have moments where you're making a lot of income, oh, I'm now worthy. No, your income, all of that stuff in your achievements and your success is not who you are. It's something that you do. And in 2018, I had that completely backwards. And so a friend of mine actually in the company introduced me to human design. And I was not ready for it. I was not ready to take a look at myself. I was so focused in what I call grind culture, which
Mhm.
is go, go,
Verified.
go. Yeah, you're constantly going, and then you're running yourself into the ground, and
Mhm.
then you have no energy, and you're putting out content that's not like what you really want it to be, and you're not impacting the people around you the way that you should be. And so I maintained that for probably a year and a half or so.
Okay.
And I got COVID in February of 2020. I was sick for about 6 weeks, and
Wow.
it made me look at what I was doing and how I was doing it. And I was able to kind of take that step back. And the people that I was working with at the time, I started to kind of question, because when you're in multi-level marketing, a lot of times they want you to do everybody to do the kind of the same things.
Okay. Yeah.
You
The
you
formula.
post, yeah, you post the same way, like, don't change the formula, just do what I do, that kind of thing. And
Okay.
that never felt right to me.
Okay.
And so I started to question that. Then I started to question our entire organization. Is this how I really want to build a business? Is this
Mhm.
how I want to lead people, where don't question it, just do what I do.
Mm.
Well, if we're all different, so how does that work? And so I would say I questioned the majority of 2020 and was just trying to figure things out,
Okay.
allowing myself that time in that space.
Mhm.
And earlier this year was actually when I found human design again on TikTok, of all things.
That's funny.
I mean, listen, when you are meant to have a message, the universe says you're going to receive this message, and I don't care what platform it's on. So I just started to binge. I wanted to know everything about human design. I was completely obsessed. I
Mm.
had to know everything. And so that was where that started. And it was more for me. I wanted to heal. I wanted to understand
Mhm.
myself, because I had always been treated like I was supposed to fit in a box.
Right.
And I always
A lot of
felt
people
very,
feel that way. Yeah.
yeah, I always felt very constricted. And so I started to study my human design chart, which helped me to understand that, oh, one, my energy cycles, this makes total sense.
Mhm.
Two, I am a creative being, so I'm supposed to kind of go with the flow. I am somebody that is meant to express myself in that divine feminine energy. I'm not meant to have that kind of structure. Some people really do well with it. I don't. But I had been trying to do some of and these are just very simple examples from my chart.
Mhm.
So through understanding my chart, that was when I started to look around at what was going on and how I was serving as far as a leader, and how I was showing up as a wife and a mom and all of these things. And I was like, God, all I'm doing is grinding, and
Mhm.
I'm missing these moments, and this isn't who I want to be. This isn't how I want to show up in this world. And so I started to dive deeper into my chart and my family's chart. And I started to talk to friends and started to do their charts. And they were like, Erin, this is insane what you are doing. And it was just because I wanted to understand myself, but I
Mhm.
wanted to understand other people. And
Mhm.
then when I started to learn that incarnation cross, and I realized, well, the reason that people have been trying to put you in a box is
Uh-huh.
because the universe has been trying to get through to you that you're not meant to be in a box. And
Mm.
not only that, you're supposed to show other people that there's a different way to do things.
Mhm.
And it was like, when I realized that was when I realized, okay, this is not where I'm supposed to go, because the formula in multi-level marketing is everybody does the same thing.
Okay.
And I'm not somebody that is going to do things in a normal way. And it's been a joke that our family has had forever.
Uh-huh.
And it's so funny to kind of connect those dots. And so I took the step and I left multi-level marketing. I stepped into a human design business.
Okay.
And it has been absolutely incredible. And now I have this joy, this fulfillment. You know, when I want to take a nap, I take a nap. When I
Mhm,
want to create, I create. When
mhm.
I want to sit with my kids on the couch or go to their events or whatever's going on, I do it. And I don't have that same guilt. So again, I realized it because I took the time in 2020 to really focus on my healing, and I started asking questions. And
Mm.
then I was brought back to human design. And then I was, you know, guided out of network marketing so that I could step into a human design business. And
Mm.
then I've been able to really step into my purpose in all of that.
And wow, and what a journey. And isn't it ironic that it was brought to you? And it's funny because I actually had another conversation today where just some similar parallels where, kind of that what ended up being a crumb, kind of one thing that leads to the next thing to
Yep.
another person's purpose was also brought to her in her job, corporate job at the time. So that is kind of so interesting how life works out. So let me ask you this about, somebody's listening to you and like, oh, I can relate to that. Yes, I can totally, yeah, I feel exhausted, or I get to feel tired, or I feel, constricted with this, because I think in a lot of companies that people feel that way, that they feel, there's this prescribed model, templates, way of doing, being, and doing the job, right? Showing up every day in this kind of their way. How do you know if you can, what you call it your chart, or human design calls it your chart, how do you know if your type, your chart, right, you can still fit and thrive within certain structure, right? Or you have to leave? How did you know?
Yeah. So I'm a big team dynamics person. I grew up playing sports my entire life. I do still play basketball twice a week on a
Okay.
women's team. I play with my daughter. So team dynamics are kind of my thing, and they always have been my thing. But within any kind of team dynamic, whether it's in the corporate world or your family dynamics or teams or whatever, everybody needs to have a different role. And that's where human design can really come in a corporate space especially, and
Okay.
really help people. Because in a corporate space, it's very similar to, I guess, multi-level marketing, and everybody is kind of
Company,
treated the
yeah,
same
probably.
way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, everybody is treated the same way. You have your role, you have your title, you have your job and the job description, and you're supposed to do different things. But what would be really cool is if everybody knew their human design chart
yeah. Okay.
and understood, if they just understood their strategy and their authority and how their energy works, how it should work. For example, I'll just go through kind of the types really quickly because it might
Yeah,
actually explain it a little bit better.
it might be super helpful. I was thinking an example kind of to integrate it better would be super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. I think of human design and the types as a puzzle. In
Okay.
order for us to get the big picture and see the beautiful colors on, like, let's pretend this, if you're watching the video, like this is a puzzle. And each of these colors is a different type. And
Hmm.
we wouldn't see this beautiful painting if we weren't working with the other types. The pieces are meant to go together to create this big vision. And in my opinion, that is what human design is like. So there are actually 5 different types. They're all very different, but they're all equally as important. And when we work together, we make something really magical. So the first type is called a manifester. A manifester is somebody that sees this big vision. They see what this puzzle looks like at the end. They see
Okay.
the end goal. They're the visionary, right?
Okay.
Manifestors sometimes like to do their own thing, but they don't have the energy to back it up. So then you have a generator like myself that comes in and goes, oh, this is a great idea. I love this vision. And now they're plugged in with the energy. So think of like plugging in your outlet to turn your TV on.
Hmm.
That's what's happening. So
Okay.
a generator is somebody that has the energy to make all of these things happen that the manifester is envisioning and speaking on. So
Okay.
then you have kind of a hybrid, which is a manifesting generator. They
Okay.
are somebody that has the vision and the energy to back it up, and they will plug in and they will go.
That sounds
Generators are
like a perfect combo.
yeah,
Both.
yeah, but they still need the other types.
Okay.
You know, we hear this all the time. We all need one another, but we really do all need one another in order to create, you know, this vision that's been painted. So those are the first three. Then you have a projector, and a projector I always describe as somebody that is kind of like the general contractor when building a house, right?
Okay.
So you have all of these different other subcontractors coming in, the electricity, the plumbing, the flooring, the carpet, and all of these jobs, you know, the landscaper that they're managing. A projector is really good at looking at the vision and saying, I know how we can make this more effective and how we can make it better. But with a projector, they have to be invited to be a part of it. They're not just going to say, I know how to fix this. That's just not that's not what they do. So they have to be invited to be a part of the vision. So then a projector comes in and says, okay, let's change this manning situation, or this project needs to be tweaked a little bit, or I think this marketing campaign would be really, really perfect if we maybe tweaked this or changed the colors or put so-and-so on that instead of this person, because that's their gift. So that's a projector.
Okay.
So they make things better. They make things more efficient. They can see the structure and all of that stuff. They're very detail oriented and organized.
Okay.
Then we have a reflector, and a reflector is like somebody that holds a mirror up and shows the big vision to the community.
Okay.
So they are somebody that says, look at what we did. Look at what we did. This is so incredible. They're kind of like a
Marketing.
like a social media influencer.
Yeah.
If I can put it like super lightly, there's somebody that says, look at what we created.
Yeah.
How cool is this? So they're a reflector. They're reflecting the success back to the community, which is really cool. So those are the 5 types. And we need each of those pieces, especially with big stuff.
And so, okay, so this is one of the key elements of human design for you to know which one you are. And let's say, so now that you know, like, let's say you are one of them, then what do you do with that knowledge? You know, how do you apply it and like, okay, actually know what is the next best step?
Yeah, great question. So the thing that I tell all of my clients after they get their human design from me, one, they're going to be very overwhelmed because it's a lot of information. I mean, you're talking about your incarnation cross, which is your purpose, your profile. Like, there's just so many layers of that onion. So the first thing that I tell people is just focus on your strategy and your authority, and start with small decisions. And maybe something as simple as, well, what should I have for lunch? Should I have this or should I have this? Mm-hmm. And you pay attention to your strategy, because some of the strategies are going to be, you're going to tell people, like informing people, this is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Some of them for me as an example, I have to wait to respond. So somebody has to say, Erin, do you want to have a grilled cheese sandwich, or do you want to go have ramen noodles? And then I can
be invited or asked.
Yeah, I have to have something to respond to. Okay. You know, then you have other people that have to be invited to be a part of it. That's a projector. Then you have people that actually have to wait around a full moon cycle. They have to go through the new moon and the full moon to make big decisions. So I always tell people, when you first get your human design chart, lock in on your strategy and your authority. It's going to help you with making aligned decisions in anything that you are doing, and start with small things. Start with really small things, and then tune into your body and let your body lead the way.
And how easy is it to get, like, is it a questionnaire, or how do you get to the answers to those two things? Yeah,
great question. That comes through your authority. So some people, it's going to be their emotions. Some people, it's going to be in their sacral center, in their gut, where it's an instant yes or no. Some people, it's moon cycles. Some people, they actually have to bounce their ideas. They have to have that sounding board. Some people, it's their ego. Some people, it is there's like 7 different authorities within human design that helps you to make those decisions. So it's not like To me, human design is kind of a very abstract tool. It's
Yeah.
not like a structured step kind of thing. It's a, how do you feel? Where do you feel in this, in your body? For some types, and then for other types, it's, I need to have this one-on-one interaction. I need somebody to ask me questions to be
Right.
able to make and kind of work through those decisions. So
But when you work with people, how do you like, so for example, like Enneagram or Strength Finder, they usually start with like a questionnaire essentially. So people go through, you go through answering like 60 questions or 40 questions, whatever it is. And then it spits out, you know, okay, these are your 5 leading types, or this is your leading type, you know, however that it's structured. How does it work with human design? Is there a
great
book,
question.
or kind of how do you recommend people kind of starting to
Yeah.
maybe, okay, I'm interested, how do I find out more?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get your free human design chart. It is based on the date, time, and location that you were born. Those are the only pieces of information that is needed in order to put your chart together. You can get a free chart. I find that the language around it is really difficult to understand, and how to implement is
Okay.
very difficult to understand. I do offer that as part of my services as well. But you get your chart, and then because it's all based on your birth information and where the planets were lined up and all of that stuff, it is all provided for you. It's all right there.
Okay.
So I think it's a simpler process than any of the personality type
Okay.
tests.
Okay.
And instead of thinking of this as like a personality thing, I want you to think of more on the energy wavelength, because everything in human design is either you are putting energy out or you are receiving energy and amplifying it. That's the
Yeah.
basis of human design. So that's why I called it an energetic blueprint.
Okay.
So I think it's a little bit simpler in the process of getting your chart, because it's just
Okay.
your birth information.
Okay, so it's not like going through and like thinking, okay, how do you react in these situations, or kind of like 60 questions. You don't, you just enter your place of birth
Yeah.
and time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will tell you, the accuracy of this has been insane. And I have clients that I have known since 2007 and before, and that I just met last year. So I have kind of a gamut of people and how long I've known them. And so some I don't know really at all. Maybe I just met them through social media and they decided to partner with me and figure out their human design chart. And the accuracy of it is insane. It
Yeah.
is it is so exciting to watch people go, this is so accurate. It is kind of scary because
Mhm.
it's based on their birth information. So all I'm doing is plugging and then interpreting for them in plain language so that they can understand it, guiding them to their strategy and authority. And then when they're ready for more, we can dive into more.
Okay. So it's kind of like coming home again, putting the power back, or pointing, shining the light on you, right? Going
Yes.
inwards. And then you probably, when you read it, it just resonates, right? Was that the feeling
Yeah.
you got when you first read yours? Like, oh my gosh, it's almost like creepy.
Yeah,
Like,
it really was creepy, but I also had so many kind of light bulb moments where
yeah.
I've always felt that I was a creative soul. I love creating. I'll get lost in these ideas that pop up in my head in the shower, or, at 2 a.m. when I wake up and I'm like, I should do this, or I have a
Yeah.
dream and I'm like, this is such a great idea for social media or for whatever. And
Yeah.
I'll get lost in that idea. And what I've learned is that through my chart, what
Hmm.
I've learned is that, it's really important for me to write those ideas down and then wait for something to not trigger me, but I've got to have something to respond to. So I have this idea and I'm waiting for somebody to go, you know what you should do, Erin? You should do
Okay.
this. Or maybe it shows up on a podcast that I listen to, or a TV show, or a YouTube video, or whatever. Something comes up. And then I've remembered that I've written that idea down. And
Hmm.
that's the universe's way of showing, hey, it's time to bring this idea out.
Okay. So it's not necessarily that you have to action on that idea right away.
Yeah. And in fact, for me, for my type,
Okay.
it's the opposite. So
Wait.
that's what I used to do. I have this idea and I'd be like, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to launch it now. I'm going to go until it's done. And then I would hit a wall and go,
Yeah.
Well, clearly that's not what I should be doing. But what
Mm,
happens is when I hit a wall or I can't figure something out and I start to kind of get confused on what the next step is,
mhm.
that is a signal to step back and to wait for the right inspiration to show up to
Mhm.
move forward. So that's that pause where I get the next idea that re-excites me and I can finish the project.
Can it also help with, so it sounds like it would definitely help, like if you're kind of go, 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 but then you hit a wall of like drain and feeling like no
Yes.
energy, and maybe it's only 1 p.m. at daytime and you feel guilty for then doing nothing because you're supposed to be working till 5, or but like,
Yes.
so knowing yourself, kind of, it is what it is, and the best thing, what would be the best thing to do versus forcing through or drinking some
Yes.
coffee and just powering through. Then it sounds like it would help with something like that. But also, could it help like with, anxiety and overwhelm and feeling stressed, if that's what you're experiencing in your
Yeah.
9 to 5?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for somebody that is either a manifesting generator or a generator.
Okay.
If I was somebody that had a business where I had corporate employees, I would almost want them, I would want to know what their human design chart showed, because I would want to create a schedule that works with that.
Okay.
Because as a generator, I know that I'm going to need some pauses throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
but in those pauses are going to be ideas that help us move forward faster. So I would almost be like, take a longer lunch or take a nap or something like that, knowing what was going to happen in that pause. And maybe that idea, maybe it's not going to be something that impacts us today as a business, but the ideas that come are going to move things forward faster.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as anxiety and depression and those types of things, I'm obviously not a doctor, so I would always encourage people to seek medical
Yeah.
advice. However, uh, when it comes to pressure that we put on ourselves to constantly be performing and focusing on production 24/7, one, that's not healthy. And two, if you learn to live by your design, the really cool part is that you're going to realize that anxiety at times, that pressure, that the fear that comes from that of I've got to keep this up or it's going to fail. when
Yeah.
you live when you live by your design, you're making decisions that are out of line, or that are within alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So you're partnered with the universe, your higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, to move forward in a very authentic, consistent way based on your type. So you're not trying to fit in the mold of the rat race, the 9 to 5, the craziness, or if you were in multi-level marketing with me, like I was, that constant grind. I got a message, I got to do this, I got to, hang on
Mm-hmm.
a second. Yeah, let me pause. Or, somebody invites you to do something and maybe it's not really in alignment. You have the tools based on your chart
Mm.
to deal with some of that.
Mm. So it really helps with like gaining more clarity
Yes.
and answers. And are there types, like, is it clear to also, if you do your human design chart, would it tell you, like, if you're confused and you just know generally something is missing, but you don't know, is it the job? Is it the boss? Is it the company? Is it like the department? Or is it like you have to like, you have to like quit and turn everything upside down, and start completely something new? Would, like, how would that support you in getting those answers?
Yeah, I don't think that you necessarily need to make those drastic changes, but I think there is a tuning into some self-awareness so
Mhm.
that you can find the direction. I mean, is this relationship? Is this what you're doing in your job? Is it the position that you hold? Is
Mhm.
it the career that you've chosen? Is it your boss? Is it the location where you work? Can you transfer? Like, all of those questions really are answered by using your strategy and your authority. So
Yeah.
asking those questions, using your strategy,
Mhm.
and then your authority is answering those questions. So that could be sounding board, that could be waiting for the emotions to work through. It could be a sacral center where I'm so jealous of the people with a sacral authority because they have an instant yes or no. There's no waiting for them.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I have to wait. I have to work through the emotions, which is like let's just be real, working through emotions is tough work.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, yeah. So, but somebody with a sacral authority, they can easily make these decisions quickly because they have an instant yes or no compass, if you will, in their gut. So that is, everything comes back to the strategy and the authority. And you just have to know what yours are that are clearly outlined in your human design chart. And then you start implementing it a little by little. And as you become better about it, you're going to be able to make bigger decisions. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like, I don't know if I should be working here or doing this, or I feel like something's missing, your human design chart is going to help you to navigate through those questions. But it's also going to help you with figuring out your purpose. Maybe you're just off the mark a little bit.
Right. It sounds like it could be as little as maybe the hours, like, okay, maybe you're not meant to work 45 hours or 40 hours. Maybe like your ideal is 32 hours a week, whatever. It might be as easy or simple as that, and not putting yourself down or beating yourself up for the rest of the 8 hours because you don't have the energy to produce anyway. So might as well, know yourself and make the best of it.
Yeah. And maybe it's something as simple as maybe you do a lot of inputting of data and it's draining because you are not somebody that's supposed to focus on, all of the details. Maybe you're a big vision person. So maybe it's something as simple as, making a transition to another department, maybe, something like that, or changing work locations or those, it doesn't have to be huge. It might be something real small. Like a tweet. I thought that I was really helping a lot of people when I was in multi-level marketing.
Right.
And it wasn't until I figured this out that I was like, oh, I'm supposed to show people a different way of doing things. Maybe it's a different way of operating in their day. Maybe it's a different way of understanding themselves. Maybe it's a different way of healing, which human design and this business that I've created has really kind of done all of that, which is amazing. But it started with focusing on me and making small changes for me. And then those little breadcrumbs, like you talked about, is exactly what happened.
And that is so beautiful because we can find service, and that's where it's kind of very nuanced and layered. We can find service in anything, right? In any or many activities, but it's kind of like, it sounds like human design will help you understand and finding the right form, right? It's not only serving, but serving in a way that's replenishing you, regenerating and energizing you, not just depleting, right? And then you have really nothing or not much to give. So Erin, I want to be respectful of your time, and can you tell people, first of all, it sounds like there's a free chart that they can take, but also share all the places where they can find more information that you share, your community, your podcast, and how you support people and interpreting and then actually putting it into use.
Yeah, I would love to help with that. So I think probably the easiest way that you can find me is on my Instagram. And so my Instagram handle is @TheRealBeastMode, and Beast is spelled like my last name, BIES. It's not like the traditional way. Within my social media platform, you will see a link, and it has my link tree, which has all of the things. I am on YouTube. I have a podcast. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff.
You're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm all over the place, but I'm starting to really figure out where I want to spend my energy, and it's YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and my podcast. So those are my 4 main things. And so you could go there, and yes, you can get your free human design chart through mybodygraph.com. I'm not a gatekeeper when it comes to human design. I think everybody should have access to it. But if you are feeling my energy, if you're liking what you're hearing and you would really love the opportunity to work with me, I also have a link in my link in my social media page that takes you to how you can order 2 options. One, you can do a $49 self-study where you get an 8 to 10 page report that I put together that outlines the different pieces of your chart, along with a complimentary, it's usually over about an hour-long video that is custom for you. Some people like to read, some people like the video, some people like the combination of the two, and I want to cater to all learning styles. So there's that, or you can schedule a 1-hour live reading with me through Zoom, and that's $99, and you get the 8 to 10 page report as just a gift from me. So those are the two ways that you can work with me on your human design report and how to make aligned decisions. And I would love for everybody to follow me on Instagram.
That's beautiful. I mean, I think you're right, because it's like when you just get the report, it helps so much to kind of have more context around it and guidance, right?
Yes.
You really, I mean, those sound like beautiful resources, and, really guiding you how you can now use it versus just taking it and then, okay, check, and not really, using it to implement it in your life and to help you to kind of the next step wherever you want to, up level or whatever, where you want to feel better, right? And make
Yeah.
more impact or change something. Can you spell out your Instagram handle again?
Yeah. Yep. It's TheReal. Actually, it's at the at symbol. TheRealBiestMode.
Okay, at real
The Real Beast Mode.
Okay, perfect. Well, I really think you guys and ladies should go and check out her work. I mean, I really admire you for what you're doing in the world. This is, telling or letting people find out more about themselves is really true empowerment, and really what will help make the difference to gain the answers and start fully showing up in your life, in your career. And I think this is an important step to start, having a career or business or a job, whatever it is for you, to where you can fall in love with Mondays.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a real honor to be here. I hope that I brought some value to you and your audience. And if there's anything that I can do, I'm only a message away.
Thank you, Erin. We'll
Thank
stay in
you.
touch. Thank you so
All
much.
right.